Huh? Huh? Huh?
Hey now, and welcome down to KC Toy Reviews. Today we are here with the Demogorgon from Netflix's Stranger Things, straight from the Upside Down himself. This thing is amazing and one beast of a figure. But as always, let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so the reason I immediately have Gambit in shot is A, he was the closest 1/6 scale figure I had nearby, and B, I think that we should get scale out of the way first. That way you understand what you're looking at, because when it's in a light box, it's a little bit hard to get scale appropriate. But man, look at how massive this thing is next to Gambit. And dare I say, well, this is the so-so Gambit, but if this was the Sideshow Gambit, dare I say, the exact same price for a massive 1/6 scale figure. So I'm not going to keep this in shot too long. I just, again, wanted to show you this guy is big. All right, back to the figure at hand. I'm not going to give a huge rundown on Stranger Things. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're either a fan, or perhaps a new fan, or you're thinking about becoming a fan. But a real quick recap is that Demogorgons come from the Upside Down, aka a parallel world. They were let in here through a gateway from 11 when she opened up a portal. In so many words, I'm sorry I butchered that. But basically, she opened up a portal. These guys escaped their dimension/realm, and they were able to get into ours. They are also all kind of part of a, how do you say, hive mind type situation. They all kind of report back to that gigantic shadow monster that they keep teasing at the end of the seasons and stuff. So these guys are kind of like the, how do you say, minions or whatever of that gigantic monster. But they still pack a punch, and they're still freaking tough. I'm pretty satisfied. I really like it. I was excited when it came out of the box. Maybe somebody's going to slap me when I say this. I think the paint scheme on the body itself is good. The mouth and the, I don't want to say details and the way they did that, I think they should have added a resin or something on top of it to give it a more realistic glisten. That to me just looks like a McFarlane kind of painted mouthpiece right there. Not to give it a huge knock, because I always want to take price into this, and I think this guy was, I don't know, between $250 and $270. And nowadays, I mean, 1/6 scales are getting so outrageously priced, and it's kind of all over the place. You have companies like So-So that are kind of holding it back, or Susu, whatever people are calling it, that are holding it back in the 200 range. But Hot Toys are now crossing the $350 to $400 mark. So $270 for this thing, and the rarity of a figure, I'm pretty satisfied. Having a lineup of some of the other ThreeZero figures kind of next to it, I think it would have a really menacing, impressive look. The first thing I thought of when season 1 of this thing, unless this is from a different season, next to 11, he seems outrageously big. Again, I could be wrong, but he seems really, really big. I thought he was a little bit smaller than this, but not to say that I'm disappointed with that, because I still love the shelf presence. And as far as what they've done to pull the body together, it's pretty impressive. And I'll kind of go into the details of the articulation, how it's covered up in some areas, but it's pretty impressive. But kind of sticking back to the paint scheme again, they've done a fantastic job. The details on this thing are absolutely outrageous. There's actually fine little blue veins throughout the whole body that's kind of layered on top of everything that you see here. So I thought that was amazing. Another thing to note is the stand that it came with was, very beautifully branded at the bottom here. But one of the biggest pieces of crap stands I've ever got. I mean, I really can't believe how much of a big piece of crap this thing is. It really reminds me of a Gundam type stand. Not knocking Gundam stands, because I build Gundams. I love the stands that they come with. But for a $300 figure to come with this type of stand, outrageous. The other part that was kind of a knock and really surprising on the stand is they dictated the height that you can pose this guy. So what do I mean? Watch when I drop this. This is as far as I can grab. So I basically can grab his crotch or his leg, so like this, I can grab that, and maybe that's the point of it. However, in the picture, and if you look at the instruction manual for this guy, it shows it grabbing his waist. So really odd that the stand is only made to grab his leg like this, because it does fit nicely around the waist. I ended up grabbing, another stand that I have just to hold him up, because segueing into it, without the stand, this guy stood horribly. Both pegs on the feet would only move up and down in one direction. You could not kind of pivot them left and right. Unless I was doing something wrong, I thought I was going to snap it by even trying that. All right, so the foot can only ratchet up and down and turn left and right. Now, the reason, some people might say, oh, that's good. Well, usually peg joints like this, I can move it up and down and then left and right like this, as well as turn it and twist it left and right. So it leaves some very big posability issues trying to get these feet to put themselves on the ground properly, and he fell a lot. If you've seen my other videos, you'll see that I drop guys all the time. I've already dropped him off camera probably like 5 times just because of how terribly he stood with that other stand, hence why I ended up getting that white stand. While we're at it, just kind of the joints again, they are seamless. Basically think of a big rubber suit over it. This is a very, very durable feeling material on this, not the Gamora or the seamless bodies that you see typically on the 1/6 scale. I truly think this will hold up, so you can do some pretty decent poses. On here, the peg joint is pretty deep. All right, let's try that again. So again, peg joints here, very similar down to the feet there. He does have a ratchet inside of his chest, so a little bit of a pivot inside there. Basically full split almost you could do with the legs. These are not seamless. However, if you notice from the front, they're hidden pretty damn well. When I show you them from the back, you can see that they are just a normal peg jointed on there. They just kind of, the plastic comes over it a little bit extra, so when you notice from the front you can't see it well. So genius job on that one. Not necessarily seamless like it is here, but it looks it. And then of course seamless at his little Minotaur extra peg here on that leg, and then you got the feet that I already bitched about earlier. And then of course the head, just kind of ball jointed on there, so pretty good movement that you have on the head there, and same thing with the shoulders here. You know what the shoulders remind me of, if anybody has the Thanos from Hot Toys. It's kind of a big gap in there, so very similar to that. If you can see whether it's up or down, you have some gaps, but not horrible depending on the pose that you have it. Now, the leg gaps to me are pretty atrocious, so that I'm pretty shocked about. Almost disappointed that there's no better way that they could have pulled that off. Again, pose from the front, probably be able to hide it a little bit and stuff there, but man, there's a big gap that you can get in there. So I'm surprised that they didn't bring this piece down a little bit more, or the leg up to, I don't know, somehow do that system better, because that's pretty atrocious there for the price that we paid. I guess I finangled with it for a second here too, just off camera, and I was able to cover it up a little bit more. I guess I just didn't want everybody to think there was a huge gap in there, but if I do pull it back down, you could see that immediately, so it is there, but if I push it up, I can cover it pretty decent there. Alright, that's enough touching this guy's crotch and legs. The only major issue I'm having with this guy is I can barely get him to stand up. With this stand right here, he's kind of almost in a balancing act. If I just tapped in or blew on him really hard, he would probably fall down. Shocked at this feature about getting him to stand up. Unless I'm doing something wrong with the feet and the pegs here in the stand, it's an atrocious balancing act getting this guy to stand properly. Oh! Oh my God, Jesus Christ. All right, so before we slap a score on this guy, I do just want to note the other head sculpt that he came with was this here. It's basically all the mouthpieces there shut. And that's it. It had 2 pairs of hands. I have one of each style just for the sake of video, so I didn't need to bring them in. But, basically I have 2 of these, and you get 2 of those, the stand, and then the closed mouth head sculpt. So that, as far as accessories, is what you get. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward figure. They've done a really good job with the seamless points, and I think overall it has some really fantastic shelf presence. The only thing with the shelf presence is that we have a balancing act going with the shelf presence. We don't want this thing smashing and falling into other figures, so I'm going to have to figure out some clever way to get this guy to stay in my piece, my centerpiece, because I do like him enough where I think I'm going to keep him for a while. However, the balancing act scares the crap out of me. So with that said, I think the score that I've already had in mind for quite a while at this point is a 7.8 out of 10. I've been thinking about this almost since he kept falling over earlier, and I do want to stress that when he fell over earlier, I saw like a little hair or something on his leg that I went to grab. It was not a joke. I did not do that just to make people laugh. That's how goddamn easy he falls over. So with that said, it really kind of scaled it back a little bit. Had he had better joints on the foot and a better stand to make him articulate a little bit better and stand properly, score would have been kicked up there. I truly think the paint application was amazing. Yes, they could have done a little bit better in the mouthpiece here, but the body, I think, looks a lot better in person than it does through the lens. I think sometimes the light, the way it's hidden off of it, it gives it a little bit of a plasticky look. So maybe there's something they could have done to matte it and taking that away, but take him out of the box, and once he's on your shelf, I think that look goes away. So it's something I just do want to know. The paint scheme is truly amazing, and the application is great, what they've done here. But that's it for us here today. KC Toys, 7.8 out of 10. Demogorgon, Season 4 coming out soon. From the show Stranger Things, Netflix. See you guys next time. Bye!